Hello and welcome back to Swinwin Collects. Thank you again for joining us. Today we'll be talking about pre-grading cards. So whilst we're waiting for some more products to land and arrive, I'll be talking about a little bit about what we'll be looking at before sending off any good finds that we get. So I've got the Shelob that we found in the previous episode, as well as some other cards that I'll talk about throughout this episode from my old collection, as well as a bad example of a little token, but it will become relevant when I get to it. So the four things that cards or graders look at are centering, corners, edging, and surface. So starting off with centering, this is basically decided at the factory before you even get it. Your centering could be really bad before you even get the card. So it could come out and score 10 on everything else, but if your centering's bad, there's no point even sending it off. So an example of bad centering, so this is a Balefire Dragon. It's not foil, but as it stands, it's still £20. It's a mythic rare, a really powerful card. It's in good condition in every sense other than the centering's off. So if you look carefully on this right hand side, you've got much more space than you do on this left hand side. And basically for that sole reason, it will never achieve a 10. So really, centering being one of the most obvious things when you see and look at a card, if the centering's bad, and you can get much worse than this, there's literally no point sending it off. So that's a card that's never going to get graded and is really probably just going to get played with, and that's a good way of sort of deciding what's in and out. So the next thing to look at is your corners. So played with cards have damaged edges and corners from shuffling damage, wear and tear, and sometimes they get nicks out of it. So obviously this is just a token. I mean, it's not scuffed, it's not been bent or torn, but if you look at it carefully, you can see great big nicks out the edges. You can see where it's had shuffle damage and just normal wear and tear. And a good way of showing up how bad the edging is putting it against a black surface or a dark surface, just so that you can see those edges much better, and then you can see the real state of the card. Obviously our Shelob from last episode is a fresh out the pack. All those cards that were rare or mythic have gone straight into slabs or top loaders. So they've been pre-sleeved and gone straight into slabs, so they're not shuffled, so they're as pristine as you can get them. So we're looking good as far as that's concerned on this card. So corners, again, something else to look at. So here we have another soldier token, and again a similar inspection, and you can see rather large nick out the corner, rounded edges. So unless you're sort of inspecting a card, you may think it's all right, but until you start actually looking at it a bit more closely, you can see more damage. And this is where it's more prevalent in older series, older cards. Not so prevalent with new series because obviously they've just come out. So the next one is surface damage. Again, if I take one of these, and we can take the Shelob out just quickly. Okay, obviously want to be careful with this because I don't want to make any marks on it, as I am hoping to send this one off because I quite like it. So as you angle it to the light, and then as you can see, it's nice clean surfacing, no pot marks, blemishes, dirt, nothing. Again, as pristine as it can get it. And again, before it gets sent off, it will have a brand new sleeve, because obviously they then seal it into a slab. So a nice new sleeve. I may even give it another new one just before it gets sent off, and not an old one. So you don't want it getting sealed and anything like this, because you're gonna have to look at that, and you want to give it its best chance of getting a good grading. I know it's not even the card, but if you're looking at the card through that, it doesn't look good. So if we look at again at these tokens that have been played with, we turn it up, and you can see all of a sudden, angling it to the light, you can see damage to the surface where it's been scraped. If we look at this one again, that's showing up now. Let the camera come into focus. There's a scrape there, and these are all things that detract from you getting a 10 out of 10 high standard. And really, if you're finding these problems and it's anything below an 8, then why even bother sending it off? Because if it's not near mint, what's the point? You want to seal in and spend your money, because obviously it costs money to send these cards off, and you consider it an investment. You seal them into the slabs, send them off, hope for a good grade, and then if you do sell them, then you've got 8, 9 or 10 out of 10 pristine. So that's what you're aiming for, and obviously you want to be hypercritical to give yourself the best chance. So centering, corners, edging and surface, that's what you're looking at to rule out wear and tear, and make sure that your cards have the best chance. Again, you can use if you've got glasses, the cloth that comes in the glasses case. Again, they're quite good for just gently, you don't want to add any water or anything, or just gently get any dust or anything that was worked its way onto the card prior to you sending it off. And lastly, the other thing to consider that I haven't mentioned is things like fingerprints. So if I hold my finger down on this token, chances are, it hasn't shown up, but you can get fingerprints showing up on the cards. So again, trying to handle them as least as possible, and when you do, by the edges, and then when you place them into the top loader, being careful of sort of edge first. And again, I'm placing the edge of the sleeve in first, and then tapping it down. The other thing to consider is the inside of these top loaders aren't always clean. So again, you don't want to force it past some dirt inside the top loader and then find that you've scraped it along the outside. Something again that I noticed with this Balefire Dragon is this particular top loader has some kind of factory imperfection, and that's on the inside. So this is something to watch out for when you're loading your cards in. I didn't mind with this one because this card's never going to get graded, but it's something to be mindful of and watch out for. And then lastly, I think what I'll do is I'll cover using this tool, the centering tool, that you can get online, which is what I did, from eBay. Again, it's from these guys called Pregrade Pros. They give you like a how-to use thing that I'll go over on the next thing. I'm not sponsored, it's just a case of that I think is a good tool to use, and it's good guidelines, but we'll go over that in another episode. We won't cover it today, but we'll call it there. I have got packs on order. They'll be landing again soon, so hopefully you'll join us again and we'll crack some more packs, see what we can find, and then we'll send stuff off, and then hopefully well, we'll get some good grades. Hopefully we'll get some good grades, and then when they land back, they could take a while, so I'll cover some other stuff in the meantime. I've got some board games that I want to look at, and then we'll look at Warhammer stuff. So there's stuff to come, so hopefully join you on the next episode. Bye.